I'd like to call this Town of Cedar Lake Unsafe Building Department meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Rosanich? Here. Ms. Stensauer?
Present.
Ms. Sheeman is absent. Mr. Deutmeyer?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy?
Present.
Mr. Gatto?
Present.
Ms. Titus is present.
All right, first we need to talk about the minutes from the June 21st, 2023 meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, will you make a motion?
Make a motion to accept the reading of the minutes.
And I'll second that.
Yeah, no.
Oh. Roll call?
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes, here.
Ms. Stensauer?
Yes. All right, now we're moving on to item number 13716 Birch Street, Lambton. Hi, sir, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Name and address for the record, please.
16152 Wicker, Lowell.
All right, what's going on here? Looks like last time we gave you a 30-day extension.
Yeah,
The property's
and
supposed to be transferring, correct?
you gave it to me to make a deal with a buyer.
Correct.
And we've arrived at a deal, and we're going to close on August 1st.
Do you want to come on up to start? Are you the buyer?
Yeah, he's a buyer.
I have for sales.
Closing at 10 a.m. on
I'll have you pass that right along to our attorney if you don't mind.
August 1st.
Okay, so I think in the, I apologize, I wasn't here last meeting, but I did catch up with the minutes and the video. You were still working on removing some things from the
Yeah.
property before title's going to be transferred, correct?
Yeah.
And that's happening?
Yeah, he's gonna give me a little of his time after that to finish.
Okay, so as of August 1st, you said?
August 1st, 10 a.m.
Okay, so as of August 1st, you're going to be the new owner?
Yes.
And you understand what's been happening? I know you've been at least a couple of these meetings before,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Do you have any questions about?
I do, of course I do, but I don't want to.
Well, now's the time to ask them.
Basically, what do I need to do to get the house out of the unsafe house?
So ultimately, our staff will have to go review. I think going forward, you need to come to the meeting until we're at a place where we can remove this from the list.
Okay.
So our next meeting is
It'll be August 16th, if I remember correctly.
August 16th. So by that time, the title should be
Yes.
transferred.
I'm sure I'm going to come to the town here and speak about permits, but just the parameters of getting out of the unsafe, so I'm not coming here every month, but
Correct.
working with the town.
Tony, do you want to shed some light on that for us?
Yeah, once you can turn it into a building permit that will take care of the items that are in disrepair in the house, then as work begins, they will pretty much be content with the progress as we're content with the progress, and then it would just be moved to an update item, and you won't have to show up every month.
Okay.
So, yeah, you'll want to assess the situation of the house and see what you want to do and what you want to hire out, and then we'll set up some discussion where we can walk through with you and see what needs to be
All right. I have a house plan and I have a schedule, but I'm not an estimator by any means.
That's fine.
I'm
Yeah, we're just looking for a ballpark.
do you want it now or who
Oh,
wants it?
no.
Okay.
No, we'll take a look at it when it's time for the permit.
Okay, great.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
If I may, one thing that this commission has repeatedly done throughout the years is when the permit is issued to you, it's not going to be a standard one-year permit. A lot of times they have shorter time frames for accomplishing these goals or
Yes.
accomplishing these items to at least make sure that progress is moving. And then, as Tony alluded to, once the property is no longer unsafe, like if, the roof is fixed and the soffits and everything are put back together, and then it's just purely aesthetics and cosmetics, then the commission generally just turns it over to the building department and they handle it moving forward. But the initial items that have made it unsafe, that brought it here, typically are going to have a much shorter time frame than some of the cosmetic and aesthetic things,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay.
There's,
Ultimately, communication is king, so as long as you're communicating with us and staying on track, of course, things happen, but it sounds like you're on the road to
Yes.
success
I
there.
have a plan, I have a design, I have an idea what I want to do.
Perfect. So for now, I mean, I would say 30 days to come back to the next meeting.
Great.
So we need to make a motion to that, though, correct?
Just a motion to defer, and is this a copy that we can keep? Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay. Did you guys have any other questions or anything else?
No, I think we're good.
No, I hated to abandon it, but,
It looks like there was a problem and a solution there, so that works. So
Yeah.
would you like to make a
Yes,
motion?
I motion to defer for 30 days.
And I'll second that.
Great.
Roll call?
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. All right, number 2, 9320 West 142nd Avenue, NWI Casas LLC. This is formerly Midland Trust Company as custodian, FCO, Pamela Broadway, account number 1716575. Hello, sir.
Hey, how we doing?
Good, name and address for the record, please.
Junior Martin, 2701 West 45th Avenue, Gary.
All right. Well, it's nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
What's happening at the house?
So I just purchased the property. We closed on May 19th. Project's to flip. Our company buys and sells homes. Maintain some rentals as well. This home is going to be sold. And so I did not realize it was on any list until you guys actually sent the letter to my accountant somehow.
Oh, she didn't notify you of that.
Well, that's how I got the notification to be here tonight. He forwarded me the letter via email that came to his office in St. John.
The previous owner, though, didn't notify you.
No, she did not, no. And I'm not, I've heard, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's been a thing of ours for a while.
I can only imagine. So yeah, we closed May 19th. I know we started pulling permits 3 weeks ago. I guess those were put on hold, I'm assuming, because of this meeting.
Right.
And so, we're just, obviously, from an investment standpoint, we're looking to get it moved as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And so,
what's your, I obviously understand your plan is to fix it and flip it, but what's your time frame? What are you doing there? Do you know what you need to be doing there according to our unsafe standards?
yes, I mean, it is a complete rehab. I know we submitted, Olson Construction submitted the scope of work to the building department. I thought a permit had been pulled already. I guess it was in waiting. I know the electrician also tried to pull a permit as well. So, we're just waiting for them to be able to get in there, to start doing the work. And if everything goes according to plan, then by the end of August, it should be on the market.
Okay.
Like I said, it is a big project, but we definitely don't want to sit on it any longer than necessary. We try to move pretty quickly normally.
We appreciate that as well, because it's been on our list for a while. So what does he need to do from here then?
Well, that one is going to be a little bit trickier because work was done without a permit. Stop work order was put on the property because, yes, the permit was submitted. I've seen one permit. I've not seen this electrical permit that your electrician supposedly submitted. It could be in one of our holding folders, but it wasn't turned in until June 30th. I didn't get it until
No,
last week.
He just was there on Monday.
But again, there was work done without a permit, so now 2 of our building inspectors are going to have to go out and walk the property with you guys as a site inspection before any permit can be done, and then we still have to review it for if everything that is going to be done is in that permit. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer process than typical.
So his next step is to schedule an appointment to meet Tony out there?
Well, not just Tony, it's going to have to be 2 inspectors. Anytime it's a work with no permit, we send out 2 building inspectors. We don't just send out 1.
So the first step is to do that.
So the first step is going to have to be, he's going to have to schedule it with our building and planning secretary who handles all the scheduling of those on-site inspections. To have our building inspectors and their general contractor walk through the property, see what it is that they've already done. If anything has been done not to code, that's going to have to be replaced and fixed.
Have you guys started work there?
They did start work. Yep, again, I don't do the work myself.
Yeah.
When he told me that they started, that he told me that everything was submitted, that we had paid him, that he was just waiting to pick up the permit. And so I did not even realize there was a stop work order until the electrician came, and that's what he was told by the office here
Yeah,
when he came to pull his permit.
that's unfortunate for you. Okay, so at this point, you need to schedule a call with the building department and schedule an appointment with the two inspectors, and then, do you need his contractor there as well, the GC there
Yes,
for that meeting?
yes.
To do a walkthrough, and then go from there. So,
You'll have to contact us to get a site inspection scheduled. We do them Tuesdays and Thursdays to try to, they usually take at least an hour, and there's two of us there, so there's no he said, she said, and it's all very clear on what is expected and what needs to be done in the home. So that's why we do it with both of us.
okay. Unfortunately, because this has been on our list for so long, and we kind of, it was a lot of hemming and hawing, you're the recipient of that, so there are gonna be some extra steps. Ultimately, we'd love for you to fix this house, sell it to someone, and move on from it, but now we just have a couple of extra steps involved with that. So, you know what you need to do now, and I think, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Just that we have to see what was unfortunately done prior to the permit, because in the neighbor's words, they were whacking away in there for the last 4 days, so that's not a good thing. So I showed up, I think it was on Friday, and that would have been Monday through Thursday that they were working in there. There were a bunch of replaced windows, interior doors were lined up, sitting on the inside of the house that I could see leaning up against the windows. It's just not a good scene to go in there. I mean, we don't know who's doing the work. You know, we require that the contractors are licensed.
Oh, 100%. That's why. Like I said, he submitted, about 3 weeks ago,
I gotcha.
so.
I mean, submitted and approved are,
100%. No, I understand.
two different
And,
things though, so.
I'm very used to a lot of other towns, and so,
I gotcha.
Yeah, so any work needs to stop, obviously,
but
number one.
then nothing's happened there in over a week, so.
So, and get that appointment scheduled with, staff so they can help you through that, and then, I would anticipate you needing to come back in 30 days with, hopefully an update. Does that allow you enough time to get in there and do what you need to do?
Honestly, the girls schedule the site inspections. I don't know how far out we are right now,
Okay.
so we'll have to see
If
when
it
Jason
starts
comes
coming
back.
towards the 30 days and nothing's happened, we can just,
You might be in the middle of August, but I don't know either. It's done by our building and planning secretary.
okay. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that? as well?
Just, if there is a motion on this one, since we don't know sort of what the timing is, I would at least protect yourselves and him, so he can get in. If everything's clear, they can start doing the work while we're working everything out. So the motion should be at least a direction to the building department to issue, if the permit is approved, for a shorter duration of some amount, whatever it is, 2 months, 3 months.
I gotcha.
I mean, I would suspect if it was issued by 3 months based on your own time frame, you guys intend on being in and out and hopefully sold in 3 months.
Yes, ideally.
So ideally, we need to put a limit on that building permit, if, after Tony's happy and can issue
Yeah,
that.
Totally contingent upon their checking off and getting through everything, but that way he's not waiting longer until the middle of August to come back and be like, okay, this is the plan, and then you guys green light the permit.
Right.
It just sort of slows the process down, both for you guys and for them.
Okay, so we need to, whatever motion we make needs to stay in there as well. If the building department approves the permit before our next meeting, work can commence.
Yeah, and the permit be issued for, whatever, 3 months?
3 months.
Probably seems sufficient.
3 months.
We still want to see them in 30 days.
Yeah, yeah.
So I motion to defer for 30 days, and the permit, and if the permit comes through, you can begin improvements.
And do you want a specific timeline on how long the permit can be valid for?
3 months. 3 months. 3 months.
And I suspect your motion is contingent upon building department checking off on the site inspection meeting and all that stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, motion's been made. Roll call?
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Bennett?
Heather, did you second it?
No.
No, I was,
No, you didn't second.
oh, I'll second. That's what you're doing.
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Bethauer?
Yes. Okay, did you have any other questions, sir, before you leave?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
We would love to work with you, and we'd love to have this off of our list just as much as you want to. Promise you
Yeah.
on that.
Thank you very
Okay, thank you so much. All right, item number 3, 7308 West, 138th Place.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Hi.
Name and address for the
I
record.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Name and address for the record, please.
Joseph Parrott, 4218 Garden Ridge Road, Crestwood, Kentucky, 40014.
All right, what's happening here?
Okay, well, first I want to apologize for not being on the meeting last month due to my mom's husband passing away on that exact day, so it was just a tough time. But with that, I was in communication with Ashley, and the garage has come down. McAllister took it down via the permit. And the only thing left there is the pad, which he encouraged me to leave just to park cars or whatever. And I think Ashley received pictures of everything being removed. But the final inspection has not been completed yet on that. And then going forward, I'm still looking at contractors to, do work on the house. So I'm in that process currently.
So the garage is done. What's changed with the house?
Nothing yet, because that was the first permit. We got that done first. So nothing's been done to the house yet, because I'm working with contractors to see who can do it.
I guess my question is, the pictures I have, I understand are old because there's snow, but around the house, the garbage, things
Oh,
like
that stuff's been cleaned up as well. Yeah, that stuff, the bulk of that has been cleaned up, yes. And that whole driveway, when they came in and got the garage, most of that's all cleaned up. There was a hot tub behind the house, that's gone. Just anything, I mean, it looks cosmetically, it looks a lot better, but it's not, obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done.
There's been some cleanup done. I went past today. Gentleman out there was working, cutting down brush. He had some things on a table out front that he was giving away, and he is working to get the outside cleaned up, which I appreciate. I didn't get out of the truck and take a close look. It was kind of like a drive past, make sure the garage was down and cleaned up type of thing. I mean, I can take a better look.
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
Sure.
Is the house closed up, like secured?
Secured? What do you mean by secured?
Like windows and doors. Are the windows and doors there?
They were intact, yes.
Yeah,
What
the
are
house
those
is,
pictures?
it's not like, everything's intact there. It's not like it's fallen down or anything.
Well, I see a huge tarp over the roof and.
Right. No, I understand that, but as far as the, it's not that, I mean, it's obviously not perfect by any means. It was a cottage to begin with. There was never
Sure.
it was never a house like they built today, let's put it that way. I mean, that was one of the original cottages put on that road.
Ashley, how long has this been on our list for?
It was the beginning, like, I want to say February or something, first of the year.
The site inspection was December.
December 19th, so likely it
The
appeared,
first meeting I attended was in February.
it likely appeared as a potential unsafe on the December or November agenda, with the report being done following that. So likely the November agenda, at the December meeting, it was then done to you guys. You guys asked for a title to be run and notifications sent. Notifications been sent, and he's been coming to every meeting since, more or less.
Sir, remind me what your ultimate goal is with this. Are you living in it, or, like,
No, I'm not living in it. There's a tenant living in it
now?
currently. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, he's present, Heather.
Got
Yeah,
it. Okay. And so, I mean, you have to understand, if this was on our list in December, and we're coming on August now, just have.
Right, I understand, but I can only do one thing at a time. I mean, I got the garage down, and then the next step is to either, like I said, we're looking at contractors to do the work, but that's not an easy, as you know, that's not an easy thing to get done currently with getting people out there and so forth. The other part is I'm considering selling it. Now, if I do sell it though, I was talking to Ashley about this. If I go that route, I know I just heard that other person say that you need to disclose, which I would do, that I'm working with you guys. But, that's the other thought I have. I mean, because I don't live right there, I've got family there and stuff, but, and I'm up there as much as I can be. But, the reality is, it might make more sense to let someone else handle it, and but with that, I'm still trying to make that decision. So I've got, I'm just working with some contractors to figure out what makes the most sense. That's where I'm at. And as far as the garage, I don't even know how does that work regarding the final inspection on that, because that permit's still open, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one to close out. We just verified that the garage is down and everything is cleaned up. It's fine that the concrete slab is still there.
Okay.
So that's fine. May I ask who are the contractors that you've been working with?
Well, you mean, I didn't, they were some of them off the list I contacted, but some of them haven't responded, or they couldn't make it out. It's just been difficult to get them to come out, to be honest. At least since the garage has been done.
Okay.
So.
The garage.
But Ashley, did McAllister send you those pictures too?
He did.
Okay, thank you.
So you don't have a contractor, there's no time frame.
Well, not definitive yet, because, there's a lot that needs to be done, as you said. I don't even know, with regard to the unsafe building, but I don't know, the way it sounds the way you guys have made it sound in discussions, it's almost like everything would have to be done on that house. The way, I know the roof needs work, but I mean, the windows, there's a lot of things that, again, it was built as a little cottage, so it's not gonna, stand up to what you currently have in a lot of the homes today, unless it was like rebuilt. Because it's on posts, it's never been a structure that, it's not even on a regular foundation.
I know you're not.
That's the way it was built.
I know you're not in the area anymore, but there's quite a lot going on with these cottages of sorts being renovated and being turned into very livable four-season homes. And if they're not, then they fall into extreme disrepair, which is pretty much how that house looks. So it can either continue to fall into disrepair to the point where it's not repairable at all, or, I understand this is not the Taj Mahal, but it needs to at least not detract from the values of the homes around it.
Right, agreed. That's the dilemma though, is, with regard to this unsafe building board, is it gonna be something that I'm gonna have to have everything there done to code? I know it has to be the code, which, electrically and everything is, but what I mean is, does it have to have a full foundation? Does it have to, that's the part I'm not, it's never gonna have that. It could have that, but that's not how it was, you know what I'm saying?
Usually the tipping point that we make on when a house requires a foundation is if it is requiring structural repairs because there's rot bad enough in the floor joists, the rim joists, and in those areas, because of the lack of a foundation, we don't allow that house to be basically put back on piers after it's been corrected. At that point, it does need to have a foundation put under it, which is something that happens, I don't know, half a dozen times a year at least in town over the last 2 years that I've been here. So it's not a possibility.
Sure. Well, that's where I'm at with it. Does it make sense to repair it? Is it better just to eliminate the building or sell it? That's where I'm at. That's why I'm talking to various contractors, because and also realtors to see what makes the most sense. And for you guys, and for me as well, I know I own another property there too, and I don't like the way it looks either, obviously. So it needs to be taken care of, and I'm totally willing to work with you guys. But and so all I want to do is continue to do what I'm doing, get it in a position to where it's out of your hands ultimately, so you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, so that's what we want as well. We also cannot give you the answer of what your best option is to do there. I would encourage you to maybe hit the phone a little bit harder and call some more contractors. There's people working everywhere right now to get out there and get you a quote on how to get that up to code for us and review your options with the realtor. But we're gonna need some sort of definitive direction here. After, next month it'll be 8 months of nothing but a garage removal.
Well, I mean, with that, I mean, I understand, but, I've been in contact with Ashley throughout. There have been a lot of other, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I had a surgery. There's been a lot of different things that have occurred through that, but I understand. I mean, I'm not trying to hide behind it.
Are you ready to make a motion?
Before you do that, I mean, the tenant's here, I don't know if he had anything you wanted to add or not.
Oh, did you want to speak, sir?
I think this conversation is above my head.
Oh, not at all. Do you have any questions or anything you wanted to add? If so, you need to come up front though and give your name and address for the record. You don't have to if you don't want to, or just an offer.
I want to understand what's happening. I don't want to be homeless in a day.
Okay, why don't you come on up front and give us your name and address for the record?
I just got pictures showing that the property has all been cleaned up, that the garage has been removed, that all the rubble has been removed, that the entire area has been clear cut. The trees that were not supposed to concerned were all brought down. The whole property has been cleaned up to the best of my ability.
Sir, just your name and your address. I'm sorry, we have to have it.
Derek Greco, 7308 138th Lane, Cedar Lake, 46303.
Thank you, and thank you for cleaning up the outside as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're renting from him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and your question is?
I don't want to be homeless tomorrow.
We're not trying to push you out of the house.
I don't feel aggression coming from you at all.
Okay.
I will do my best, if I may speak with you afterward, to educate myself about the conversation level that is above my head with inspections and expectations and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just here to listen and learn.
Yeah, ultimately, sir, when it comes to us, by the time it comes to us, it's pretty bad. So, and as you've heard, this has been on our list now since December, probably needs to be on there before. So, as we obviously don't want you to be homeless, and we don't want anyone to be homeless, but we also want you to live in a safe home.
Yes, sir.
And as of this moment, it's deemed unsafe.
Yeah, I have been speaking to, I don't know, contractor inspection law, that's all above my head. So I will wait for you to work those things out with Joe. But if it comes down to house repairs, then certainly it's something that I'm more than capable of.
Yeah.
Bringing it up aesthetically, like you brought up the point that we need that property not to detract from property values around it.
Yeah.
Those are all things that I can address, certainly.
Which it
Painting
sounds like,
the house, removing the windows, fixing them.
it sounds like you've helped from that aspect as well, cleaning up the rubbish and the garbage and things like that. But ultimately, a contractor will need to go in there because now that it's hit our list the way it has, Tony needs to work hand in hand with a licensed, insured contractor to make sure that home is up to where it needs to be livable again.
And that's where I say the conversation goes.
Yeah, well, it's also not your responsibility, but you're not gonna have a knock on your door in 2 weeks saying we're kicking you out of the house. We're still trying to work with him to find an answer, but we just need some sort of progress here to happen.
Yes, sir.
But thank you so much for cleaning up the outside, that's great.
Yes, sir. And I don't know progress, like, if it means painting, if it means taking the windows out and cleaning them and fixing the glass and all that stuff. I'm sure that's not contractor necessary work. All that can be done by me, and I will commit to whatever schedule needs to happen in order for me to maintain my residence.
Yeah, and whatever happens as far as that goes, that's the building department, and that's over my head as well. That's why we have Tony sitting here.
This gentleman, Tony.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I'll speak with him after the meeting and try and understand the situation to the best of my ability and see how I can act to maintain this property for as long as Joe wants it maintained.
Okay.
I don't mean to speak on his behalf or in his place about selling or
Yeah.
As I said, that conversation is above my head. But as far as things like making it acceptable to the neighbors so it doesn't hurt the property values around it, whatever I can do, legally speaking, I'm sure Tony can educate me if he doesn't mind the task.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, he's your guy for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Derek.
I have those pictures if you need them at all, but it sounds like you were there.
It's right down the street, so that's good, thank you.
Did you want to add anything else to this?
The only question I have is sort of what you, I think what you were alluding to was the longevity of this one. It sounds like the board's interested in sort of a resolution and deferring this possibly to give them a little bit more time. You might want to consider putting an end date on that though, because there's going to have to be an action date either for him or for us. And I think that line in the sand might need to be drawn, because obviously we know deadlines oftentimes for activity. And this one has sort of drug on, so it seems appropriate that a deadline might be imposed.
That's good, yeah, I agree with that. My concern at this point is that I know no one wants to hear it, but winter's knocking on our door. So at that time, people will stop working. So 30 days leads to 60 days, which leads to winter. And then this is going to be on our list then until next spring.
Correct.
Which will bring us to a year and a half of nothing. So I do agree with a deadline. So like I said, in my opinion, I would be hitting the phone pretty hard getting a contractor out there.
When you're saying a deadline, though, a deadline for just a plan or a deadline, what do you exact? I mean, because again, I pretty much told you where I'm at with it all.
At this point, it's a deadline for a plan, an actual plan where I have a contractor, here's my quote, here's my scope of work, here's what I plan on doing.
Okay.
Here's their timeframe. Or, here's my realtor, here's my listing, and this is it sounds like you're trying to decide which way to go. We just need to know which way that is.
Right. Okay, well then, all right, that's fair, but understand that, or, you know, I guess in my mind, maybe I misunderstood, but the main thing, that garage looked so bad, that had to get the hell out of there, or the heck out of there. And I was, you know, that was a big deal to me, to get that out of there finally. And then, you know, I wasn't even sure I could move on to anything else until that permit was cleaned up. I mean, I've been talking to people, but I didn't know I could actually move forward in any, you know, major way until that was completed. So I guess I misunderstood as well.
So, Mr. Parrott, if you remember, I sent you the unsafe report. It shows that there's
A lot of
issues
things,
with the
right?
roof, issues with the structure. So while the garage was the worst, and they gave you the permission to work on the garage first, the intent and everything the board has always told you is to get a plan together for the house so that once the garage is taken care of, we can then move forward on the house. Realistically, that was done back in March, I think is when they initially gave you the permission on that. February, March, they gave you a 60-day deferral. Nothing had come about. Then they gave you a 30-day when you came back, and that's when you finally got the permit for the garage in May-ish area. Picked it up in June. Garage finally got done. Now here we are at the July meeting when you had about 3-4 months to try and figure out a house plan. So what they're wanting you to do is come up with a hard deadline, a hard plan of what you're wanting to do. Now, depending on what the board's preference is, if they want to go to August, that meeting date is August 15th. If you want to do September, that meeting date is September 20th.
Just one final thing, if I may. I think what the board should consider is we don't want this circumstance to turn into the one that was preceding this.
Right.
Right, with Ms. Broadway, which we had a similar circumstance, right? It was get the garage down, and then it took her however long to get the garage down, and then it was come back with a plan, and then she never did. Right, and then she sold the property, and then it becomes somebody else's problem, which just further acts to delay this. So I think that's
Well, I don't want it to be that way at all. I need to do something. It's weighing on me. I mean, the truth of it is, when this first came about, it's not your problem, but I ended up having a detached retina in my eye. That was the surgery, and I think, I'm not sure, but it feels like it was some of the stress of this. So I want to get it taken care of, trust me. I mean, I don't, you know, my health and life and all that's more important, and Derek as well, and you know, everything needs to be taken care of. I don't want to prolong it. So, you know, just so you know, it may seem that way, but that's not my intent.
Are you ready to make a motion?
All right. I motion a 30-day extension deadline with a plan from a contractor or info on a sale.
Is that included enough?
It's a final extension of time for him to come up with a list of plans to improve the property or to provide evidence that the property's been listed for sale, if I understand it.
I would second that motion. Roll call?
Mr. Lozada?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. Did you have any other questions or anything else, sir?
No, just to thank you for listening and helping. I guess I do have one question. If I were to put it up, again, that lady or here, one of the earlier people, didn't obviously disclose to that guy that it was on the Unsafe Building Board or whatever. If I were to sell or put it on the market, I had asked Ashley this, what is the procedure on that as far as, shouldn't it be in writing that it's with you guys? I mean, isn't that the right way to do it?
Yeah, I would say the unsafe building law isn't really super specific on the exact methodology of doing it, but certainly to sort of protect yourself, to ensure that the notice has been given, it's probably appropriate to put something in writing.
Okay.
And sir, I'd like to include as well, I mean, if you do choose to sell it, obviously disclosure is key here, but please let that person know that we're happy to work with, whether it be you or him, to make the house right. We're here to help as much as we can. But yeah, you do need to disclose. You don't want to see what happened to the gentleman before you.
I guess I do have one other question. If I, which this isn't gonna happen, but if I did not do anything there, what does happen going forward? I mean, because, I talked to, this isn't the avenue I want to take, but I did talk to McAllister and some other folks, because if the property's in that bad a shape, maybe it makes sense to, knock it down. I don't know. But is that what ends up happening? If it goes to a point where nothing was done, that's, the town would take that action and just knock it down, or what? What would be the ultimate? Again, I don't want that to happen, but again,
Brian, do you want to tackle that?
Yeah, so generally if, for instance, had you not appeared back in wherever, January or February, this matter, the board like would have issued was called an order for demolition, would have given you 30 days to correct it or to demolish the property. Had you not done that, the board would have subsequently issued a affirmation order, which would have then allowed the town to go in and to demolish the property. Once the property is demolished, you would be issued a bill for the demolition. If you didn't pay that bill, we would lien the property. And just to tie a bow on your prior question, regardless of what notice you give a prospective buyer, if you are indeed selling it, within 5 days after the closing, you're required to disclose to the town name, address, and phone number of the new buyer, just so you know.
Okay. So that would be up to me?
Yeah, that part is definitely up to you.
Okay. Well, that's the thing, a lot of this stuff, I just want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row, because I don't want to leave anything undone. And Ashley did say that, I didn't realize you were a lawyer or whatever, but she said that there's a lawyer generally there, so I appreciate that.
All right, sir, thank you for your time, and we look forward to talking to you on August 16th with your plans.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to number 4. We have 11104 West 133rd Avenue, Reha. Did I say that right? Reha.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Andrew Reha, 427 West Oakley Avenue, Lowell, Indiana.
What's happening at the property?
Heather, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
So you weren't here last meeting, just to bring you up to speed, we had a lot of talk about birds.
I looked at the minutes.
Yeah.
We have a vulture issue.
So there is a vulture issue, which is a bird that is just specific species that I think we all learned, Andrew educated all of us, that is protected
Well, I've
under
been
federal act.
Trying to learn too, because
Those
I
are
surprised
nasty. I
They
don't
are.
really understand how they're protected, but that's
That
another time.
surprised me as well.
Yeah.
But
because they're migratory birds apparently. So,
And those are living in the garage.
yeah, I found out I'm time sharing the second floor.
Got it, with no rent. They need to be
Yes.
evicted ASAP.
Yeah.
You can't.
except the federal law prohibits you from evicting them.
Right, got it.
Yes.
Yes, I read the minutes, the turkey vultures are in the garage, but it did say in the minutes that you did say the house should be coming down, or that's how I took the minutes.
Yeah, well, I think they were, maybe there was concern that I wasn't gonna do anything with the vultures in the garage. But I said I was still wanting to move forward to get the house removed.
Yeah,
So I've been working on that, because also when I found the vulture, like, I cleaned the garage out, which I had told last meeting, I almost said last meeting. But the garage is pretty much empty, there's like 2 things downstairs. I haven't done anything upstairs, obviously, because I can't disturb the, baby birds.
right.
And I've been cleaning up more outside. I've been working on getting more stuff cleared out of the house, because I had to clean it again, because last week I had another break-in, the house got trashed. So I've been working on just getting the house more emptied, because the dozen contractors I've talked to, they're like, if there's stuff in there you don't want, don't bother clearing it out, because
Right.
they'll just take it with the house. But I'm tired of having to pick up the pieces if you will.
So there are things in there that you're still trying to retrieve, that you do want.
There's probably like just a handful of things that we want.
Does that mean like a truckload, or does that mean like,
Hopefully, probably just like, no, because there's a couple things, which I have to find out what they want to do with the big dining table. But there's a few things that, depending on where they're going to go, I'm looking at a very small storage, not like a semi-load. The other stuff is just stuff that most of it's probably going to have been thrown away. But, you know, I think there's still clothes in there that were my grandparents that the family never got rid of all these years.
and those are things that you're trying to get out?
No, so I've had a couple dumpsters, but stuff that I deem as garbage, I just want to get it out of the house and throw it away, because my goal is to get as much of the house empty, whether it's garbage or gonna be kept. So,
The house is coming down though.
right,
Okay.
but,
So like, if the contractor said just leave whatever you don't want,
Well-
they'll scoop it up and throw
well,
it.
we can, but, so the thing is, and I think month before last or whatever, like, somebody ripped the board and broke in the back window, and like, so now, like, the house is trashed. Like, I'm tired of having to pick up stuff so I can get in the house and move around and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just figure the most I can get out is, it's not gonna matter if I throw it away or if I leave it for them to throw away with the house, is all I'm saying. So I've been working on that as well. Why? Because I think it's easier to pull teeth, but as I've been working to try to get bids to get the house down, instead of not doing anything there, like, you know, I've been trying to just clear stuff out,
okay.
so I can kind of get rid of that headache.
Well, it sounds like the headache is the house.
Well, it is.
So, I mean, if you could just spend that weekend and get a truckload of stuff out of there, then you would be done, right?
Right, which is what I was planning on. It's just with the holiday and other things, I lost a week on doing that.
Right.
I've been wanting to try to get some of the family so I can get another dumpster and different things so that,
This is your home now though, right? I know at one point it
yes,
was.
it's
Okay.
mine.
So, I mean, also you're the one responsible for it.
No, right, but I mean, I just want to get somebody that can help me pick things up.
Gotcha.
It's like if there's things, you know, that's all I mean, because, you know, like, if I get a dumpster at 5 days, and stuff that I want to get thrown away, I just want to have like another physical person that can carry a garbage can. So instead of me going back and forth with like one can, I can kind of have a couple people so we can do a bucket brigade.
So again, though, I'm having a hard time understanding that, because what you're telling me is that the contractor said, leave what you don't want, they'll scoop it up and they'll throw it in the dumpster.
Right, which I can, yep,
But you're talking about taking out garbage cans and stuff,
right.
which doesn't sound like the best use of time at this point.
Well,
What are you asking for today? What would you like today?
well, today I came back because I know you folks wanted an update on everything.
Can I jump in? I think maybe part of the confusion here is, I think what he's trying to say is he's showing you guys that some progress is being made, if he's doing work on the property. And maybe that's part of the confusion here, is that I don't know that the board's requiring you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know that the board's requiring you to continue to remove junk or saying you need to keep
Right.
moving stuff
No,
out.
and I know that you folks aren't requiring me, but I've decided I want to get the stuff cleared out, because every time one of the crackheads breaks in, and then I can't walk in the house because there's junk that's knee-deep, I'm just tired of picking up the pieces. So I figure if I empty the house, I don't have to worry about, you know, the whole living room is knee-deep with clothes and junk and whatever, and now I can't get in there for anything. That's why I've decided, like, I want to get as much out as I can and not just wait until they're going to come, you know, scoop the building up.
It seems like you're in a vicious circle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I am. I mean, that's why I want to get the house down and everything, but I'm just doing what, I'm just trying to do what I can to try to make things a little bit easier on me, as far as I don't have to find out someone broke in the house and then I don't have to go spend a few days picking up the pieces.
Right. So I understand the garage, so let's take that off of the conversation. But how much time in your mind do you need to get the house emptied out?
Oh,
Get it.
probably just like another, like a week I can get probably all the garbage stuff gone.
And what's the, do you have quotes from removal of
I
the house?
finally, I'm sorry, to
The
remove
removal
the
or
house.
demolition of the house?
I finally, just in the last week, got one estimate.
And what was that estimate? You have it, it's in front of you? Or not in front of you
Yeah,
right now?
they emailed it to me, but yes.
Okay.
So I have one estimate finally. I'm waiting on 3 other contractors to see if I can get another bid.
How many estimates do you feel that you need to be comfortable?
I would like to at least have 2. I would be more comfortable if I had 3, because I have nothing to gauge the cost.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Is the goal here to remove everything all at once, or are you gonna piecemeal it, do the house and then the garage separately?
And I'm gonna do the house first, because obviously the garage has gotta wait till the birds are gone.
Sure.
It's probably gonna be like winter. And then, now depending on everything, because I have to wait on the garage anyway, once I can verify the birds are gone, so I know I can touch the garage without facing federal prison, then depending on what needs to be done, I'm actually leaning on the line right now to maybe just repair the garage and leave it.
And then you're selling the house, or you're selling the property, or
No, I'm not selling anything right
you
now.
want to keep it?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna keep the property, so depending after the birds are gone, I can decide what I can do with the garage. I may just leave the garage building there.
Okay,
But I figure once the birds are gone, I'll cross that bridge when I get there,
okay.
so.
So I feel like we're following the same conversation I had with the last gentleman, because this was, the inspection was on November 28th of 2022. So we're coming up on a year here.
Right, and then I don't know the first meeting I got to attend, but that was when the first time I found out about all this.
What do you think?
I do know he's got a permit for demolition of everything.
How long does that permit last?
30 days.
So when does it expire?
Probably expires today, because it got extended at the last meeting. So, because I was under the impression originally I didn't know if the permits expired or whatever, and then the town said they didn't expire, but when I got the permit, the lady's like, it expires this month. And then Ashley had let me know that it's up to the committee to extend the permit.
It was
since we're-
given a 90-day permit back in June, so it's going to expire in September.
Yeah.
Oh, it was, okay, I thought it already expired.
No, you have till September 22nd, 2023.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I mean, he needs quotes. Crazy.
It is, but I'd love to know how that guy got a quote from McAllister to get his garage down, because that guy won't call me back. But I've talked to almost a dozen contractors, and out of that dozen, I had one finally give me an estimate. Right now, I'm waiting on 3 other contractors to see if I can get an estimate out of them.
I mean, you might fall into a situation here where there's not going to be any more time to keep looking for this. The problem obviously is it looks horrible. Now there's animals living in it. There's break-ins, which is more weight on our town staff. It's not safe. even if people are breaking into it and going into it, now they're not in danger, I understand they're criminals, but, so what time frame do you need here to get the house down? Your permit
I did
is up
find out, I finally
end of
got the,
September?
End of September, so our September meeting will be 2 days before the permit's set to expire.
Okay, you did find out what?
I did find out, I finally got NIPSCO to remove the electric line, so I got that kind of cleared out of the way, because the electric has to be gone before anybody would start work as well.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like you're like a week away from the house coming down. If you get in there with a truckload of stuff and get your personal
Well,
belongings
potentially,
out.
if I can, if I have a competent bid, so that I can pay someone to remove the house, then depending on when they could start, like, yeah, I'm fairly close. And like I said, I would like at least a second bid, so I have something to compare to. Plus, the current bid I have is with a contractor that's not registered with the town, and it's got a lot of exclusions in it.
The bid does, or the?
The bid has a lot of exclusions right now. And then that contractor's not registered with the town. I am assuming they will register with the town, but if I tell them that I want to move forward, and then they tell me they won't register with the town, then that kind of takes them out of the game anyway.
Correct, that's something you would need to find out for sure.
Right,
Then we
so-
have multiple problems.
Right, so, but I can
Mind
tell
if
you,
I ask where we have a list of, if you wanted to contact the building department.
I have the list.
A list of registered,
Yep.
excavation contractors?
I think
I have the
even
entire
looked-
list.
Yeah, I think I made him a copy a
Okay.
month or two
I have the
ago.
entire list. I think
Okay.
it's like 20-some pages,
Oh,
or whatever it was.
I think we're up to like 23, 24 pages on our list of registered contractors now.
he just needs the demolition or the,
Well,
excavation.
everybody's on
contractor.
there, so, yeah. Well, I think, I've called like every one of them.
How many people are on this excavation list that we provide, or that we offer?
I'd have to look at how many are specifically registered for excavation.
Are we talking about 3 or are we talking about 30?
30? Yeah, 30 would be closer to how many are registered as excavation
I
contractors.
mean, sir, that's a lot of phone numbers. None of those people are
Right.
calling you back?
I've talked to, like I said, about a dozen, and then they don't call me back after that. I've actually talked to like 4 people. I've actually had 3 people come and look. I met them there, looked, they said they'd give me an estimate, and then I never hear back from them, and I can't get them to send me the estimate. So I assume that they don't want the work, or they can't handle the work, or they don't have the people to do the work, or whatever's going on. But, like, you know, that's their business, not mine, but,
And someone who's not registered in town, if it's their first license, it's $150, and they have to produce their bond and their
Okay.
insurance, which if they're a legitimate contractor, they've already got that.
yeah, and they are, but I mean, so that's why I know, like, because actually right now I'm waiting on 4 companies.
Okay, but
The
you
one
can
I
step
have-
outside the bounds of who's on that list. You know, you can reach out to wherever and just say,
Right,
hey.
well, and that's
work
what I
here.
started also doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I found, the one company that actually gave me a bid, I found them, by reaching outside the list.
Okay,
There's 2 other companies that I got from contacts through my work,
okay.
that I've reached out to, and obviously they're not registered with the town. But then obviously if I'm gonna move forward with that, and I've already talked to a couple, contractors, and I did tell them, you have to be registered with the town or register.
Sure.
So, you know, so I've been making sure of that, 'cause, but like I said, if I can just get at least one more bid, so I have something to compare to, I would like 3 bids, but you know, once I have 2, I can see, because if somebody's really cheap, then that's probably not gonna work, because, like I said, I don't want to have someone say, oh, you know what, we'll take the house down for $12,000, and I say, okay, and now we got a agreement in place, and I'm bound by contract, and then they start, and they say, oh, well, we didn't think about this, and now there's gonna be extra costs.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'd like something to compare it to.
Ashley, are you able to, I know he has the full list, but are you able to pluck out just the excavators list out of
It's
that?
broke up
Okay,
on the list, like, it's probably like some kind of spreadsheet, but they're categorized,
okay.
so,
So to find the 30 or so on there that are
yeah, so,
licensed, insured with the town, or not insured with the town, but registered with the town options,
so,
I mean, you really need to hit that phone hard.
yeah, and
That's 30, that's a lot.
So, yeah, and I mean, I have been, and I wanna, I've been talking to people like every week. And actually, I didn't, not with getting the house removed, but I've actually been waiting on a bid to get the water, the well removed. And I didn't think, The one company that just called me last week, the guy was gonna go look, and then he said he'd get the stuff so they could actually get, the girls could send me the estimate, which I haven't heard yet from. But I actually talked to them like almost a month ago, and I thought they were never gonna call me back.
Well, why does the well have to be
The
removed?
well needs to be capped.
If they get it capped,
Capped,
yeah.
okay,
So, cause to abandon it, I have to get the well capped,
got it.
and then they certify for the DNR.
No, that makes sense, you were talking about removal, which didn't make sense.
Yeah, so I've been, all the pieces, I've been trying to work on all the pieces with everything, to
Got
get
it.
stuff taken care of.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not necessarily, I mean, just the whole, step outside of the list that we have and.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that for a while.
Okay.
And, cause I tried to put an RFP out, I think it hit Angie's list, and I've had all kinds of people calling me. And like I said, I talk to them and they say, oh, we'll get you an estimate, and then I don't hear back.
It is a big house, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a little cottage, so.
Yeah, and like I said, cause, there was actually, one contractor from DeMont, I met there, seemed like a good guy, we were talking everything, he said, I'll get you an estimate in like 2.5 weeks, and I never heard back from him.
So being in the contracting world, you're gonna have to hound these guys.
Right, I mean.
It's not, you can't just say, go on their faith if they're gonna call me, cause you get.
No, and
thrown in that
I
corner.
hound him a little bit.
You've got to be consistent until they tell you, listen, I can't do it,
So.
because that's just how contracting.
Yeah, and I kinda get that, and I'm a little persistent about things, and I don't mind hounding people a little bit, but, that's not how I do business, as far as like, if I tell someone I'm gonna.
You and they are
Yeah.
different.
Well, and I
different
understand,
people.
but I don't see why I have to run and chase somebody to be like, can I give you $20,000?
Right, I get it,
So-
and it doesn't make sense, but it's how it is, unfortunately. And then we end up 30 days, and,
Right,
because they don't respond, so, yeah, it's silly, but you have to chase them to get them money, so.
yes, yeah, so, but like I said, I do have the one estimate now, and right now I'm waiting on 3 contractors to see if they'll get me a estimate. So as soon as I have 2, I'll be ready to move forward with getting the house down.
Do you know what the mobilization time is for the one estimate you have?
They didn't give me a start time or anything. I'm assuming probably depending on what work they're going on, I would hope that they could mobilize within a couple weeks.
I would even feel comfortable if you had the bid, it was signed, you had given them some sort of a down payment, and it wasn't gonna start until October, or
Right.
there's,
Yeah. And I think,
we need to be moving forward here at this point. with
right,
something.
and I think, I would think probably by next month, I should be closer to, having someone selected and know all that kind of stuff.
Well, then.
Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, his demo permit right now technically expires at the end of September, so he's got until the end of September to get it down, which would be sufficient time for him to hopefully find someone or get another bid or something and have this thing buttoned up by the next meeting.
So we need to, any extension would need to be at least 60 days. Him coming in 30 days isn't gonna do us much
Unless
good.
he shows us his bid and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want him to come back in the August meeting and to give an update as to sort of what status he's in, but.
I don't really want an update, I just want you to come in September and say the house is gone.
Okay. Which I think,
I mean, it's
I think
been,
depending on the amount of time they need to do the work, I think that I could come in September and say that it's down, or come and say that it's half down.
Scheduled date.
or come and say, listen, I've signed the contract with them.
Right,
They're
I think by
scheduled to
September.
come in October, or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, and I think by September, I can come and tell you that.
I am 100% sure you're gonna feel better when this house is down.
Oh,
So, we will as well.
yes.
And I think you can also agree that we've been super patient with
Oh, absolutely,
crawling
yes.
up on a year here.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you're gonna make some phone calls for the excavators
Yeah, absolutely.
and get done what you need to get done. Did you wanna propose a motion?
For the 60 day
60 days.
with deferment. Is that what I'm doing, or do you want to do the 30? You said 30 at first.
Honestly, yeah, but then with the demo permit not expiring until September, we're kind of stuck until December anyways, or not,
September.
Not Santa Claus.
Yeah. So there's
I'm
not,
going to make a motion for the 60-day deferment, and you'll be at our September
20th.
20th meeting with the bid and/or date of demolition.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll make that happen. Because like I said, actually I would hope in September I can get someone to start work. But I know, like, by then I'm going to have everything in play and have a signed agreement.
We need that, yeah.
and I'll second that. Roll call?
Mr. Zenich?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. Sir, I've dealt with the contracting world as well. You have to hunt them down. You have to be more annoying than you could ever think of
Yeah.
to get answers.
So, well, and I try, and actually I had, so the one guy that told me he was going to give me an estimate in like 2 weeks, like 3 months ago, he actually called me like 3 weeks ago saying, hey, I saw your thing that you wanted an estimate. I'm like, dude, I talked to you. He didn't even remember that.
Yeah, I know, it's frustrating, but we're to the point now where we need to,
Right. So,
just think how great you'll feel when it's all done.
oh, I don't want to lose any more sleep.
I don't want you to lose sleep either, sir.
But yeah, no, I'm going to be so happy.
So you're clear on our mission here?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you on September 20th with either a picture of a vacant lot, which we all drive by there every day anyway, or a plan.
Yes.
Sort of a signed contract with a date of demo.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Minus the garage, because you don't want to mess with the bird.
yeah, and that's at 5:30 still?
Yes.
Okay.
5:30, September 20th.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for coming, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Number 5, 7109 West 128th Avenue. Are we taking these together, or, wait, oh, never mind. I'll go ahead, I don't know if anyone's here. 7109 West 128th Avenue, Cagnina.
So Roger Hayward gave me a call earlier today. He's the gentleman who's been helping out Luigi Cagnina on both properties. They are still working on trying to get the holes to the depth that Tony needs to inspect the foundation for 7105, which is your second property, and requesting a 30-day deferral.
You don't believe there's a foundation. I mean, I looked at the pictures. You had your thing
I don't
all the way
believe
through the
there
ground.
is, and I've gone back and forth with text with Roger, and the last, where I left off was him trying to explain what's there, and I told him I don't want just a stack of cinder blocks in the ground, I want to know that there's an actual foundation that this house is sitting on, and that was last week, I believe, and I'm waiting on some 36-inch deep holes so we can verify there's a foundation under the house before they start rebuilding anything on top of it, which is pointless if there's no foundation.
Wasn't at the last meeting he was supposed to be digging holes?
Yes, and they did, they were 12 inches deep. So,
What did that show?
nothing.
So, to recap, which one was on first? 7105 or 7109?
7109 came first.
7109 came first, and then
And
we
then-
discovered that 7105 was owned by him as well, and he was trying to use 7105 money for
Right.
7109.
He's trying to, I think he's trying to fix up 7105 so we can mortgage that, or take a mortgage out against that, so we can repair 7109.
Okay.
So then the house that we're waiting on to discover if it has a foundation or not is 7105. So the request is a 30-day deferral for both items 5 and 6 under active unsafe.
Okay, and these 7109,
The site is cleaned up. That was one of the questions was, has the tree been removed from the house? Is the site cleaned up, which it is. I mean, the garage and the house still look like they're not awesome. They still look like they did in the pictures. There's just no tree on it and there's no overgrown landscape anymore.
and 7109 has been with us since August of last year.
No.
And my understanding is also that 7105 was on the list pre-COVID, and it somehow fell off, well, not somehow, it fell off during COVID and just never came back until it was brought to our attention that he owned both.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
So 7105, do you
Was
know,
actually first in time.
when did that go back to? Do you know? Do we know that?
Oh, I have to look at the original report and see.
1920.
1920,
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
Okay, well, quick math tells me that's too long. do we have title on these?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, any title we would've ran on 7105 is
Long gone.
gonna have to be updated.
I mean, what are your thoughts at this point? This is, for at least the one, it's been 4 years.
The 7105, and I think that
He hasn't owned it 4 years, though. He didn't own it at that time. I believe Tim Kubiak said there's been 3 owners that he's stopped from working on that house because he doesn't believe there's a foundation under it, and that's why we all want to assure that before anything happens above ground, we make sure that it has a foundation.
Tim doesn't believe there is.
Right.
I mean, your pictures show that there probably is not either.
It's my understanding.
Have you gotten any inclination or any feeling from them what the plan is if there is no foundation there?
Not so much. When Tim and I met Mr. Cagnina there prior to Roger being involved, we let him know that the house will need a foundation because we were under the assumption that it doesn't have one, and left him with some referrals, and then that was kind of it. That was on 7105, and then 7109 ended up on our list, and consequently 7105 was brought back onto the list. So that's kind of how the chain of events is.
So just as a,
I'm sorry, Ashley, 1 second, or I'll forget. So do we have a report on 7105?
I don't think that was updated. There's a very old report on it, and I don't think it was updated because we were looking, for the last 2 months to just turn that into a building permit and get going with it, but it's been just kind of petering along and hasn't.
Do you feel like at this point it would be a good idea to get a new report on it?
I could update it, sure.
Okay, sorry, Ashley.
7109 Luigi purchased in 2021, 7105 he purchased in 2022 according to the assessor's report card.
Got it. I mean, if we could get a new report on 7105, I think that would be helpful, just so we have both. Because if one's hindering on the other, so they're kind of married, right?
Yeah, right.
So it would be helpful to see what they're dealing with at 7105, because if that's not going to be the cash cow that they're hoping for,
Right.
7109 is not going to happen anyways.
Right.
Is there anything
Probably
I'm
right.
missing?
No, and if you're talking about a motion, sort of back to your prior question, we've drawn some proverbial lines in the sand tonight, and maybe one needs to be drawn with this one, right? I don't think it's that bad. I'm not the digger, but I assume that getting a hole 36 inches deep in the ground should be accomplished before the next meeting, so we can know with any sort of degree of certainty whether there's a foundation there or not.
Right.
So
I agree.
if there were to be a line drawn in the sand, I think that is it. So we come back in August and Tony's like, yep, there's a foundation and we're good to go, or no, there's no foundation, then you hold their feet to the fire and say, what are you doing?
Okay, so along with that, I love that idea, so we can do that, and then can you get an updated report to us by the next meeting?
Sure.
So in 30 days, we should know, is there a foundation, and here's the report.
Right.
Whether there is or there isn't.
Right, yeah.
I think that's sufficient, then you guys know sort of what the plan of attack is, because they come back here and you say there's no foundation, and say, what are you gonna do? Right, because you're either, at that point in time, you're leveling it, or you're walking away, and we're leveling it.
Well, both then, because if they can't do the one, then the other's not going to get done.
I agree.
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
For a 30-day permit with foundation report.
Foundation, they have 30 days to dig a hole.
All right, so I'm sorry to jump in here.
No.
So the first one on the agenda is 7109.
Oh, right.
And 7109 is probably just a deferral, and your motion, your more substantive motion is going to be on 7105.
Right.
Oh.
So 7109, we're just going to do a 30-day
Correct.
extension.
All right.
Or just deferral?
Yeah.
30-day deferral for. All
So
right,
I
so,
motion for a 30-day deferral on 7109.
correct. Yes, and I'll second that motion. Roll call?
Ms. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Sethauer?
Yes. Okay, so now we're moving on to 7105, which is within the next 30 days, they're going to have to dig a hole, so Tony can look at that. And then Tony will also do an updated report. And then, so in 30 days, they can come back and we can review.
So I motion for a 30-day deferment with the foundation with them digging the hole, regarding the foundation and an updated report from True.
And is this a final deferral on this matter for that particular purpose?
For the foundation, yes.
Okay, thank you.
For the whole
Well,
process?
the whole
Yeah,
thing,
okay.
yes.
Yes, I'll second
That
that.
will determine, okay.
Roll call?
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. Okay, so Ashley, you'll contact Roger and,
He's scheduled to call me at 8:45 a.m. tomorrow morning.
okay. All right, moving on to potential unsafe items, 13941 Moore Street, Doyer.
You have the unsafe building report on the iPad. This is that property that's located just across the way from the lighthouse
The
wall.
brick house with the ginormous garage, pole barn.
Yes, that's one.
Okay. So, Tony, you didn't get in the house, right? The pictures are just from the garage?
Pictures on the exterior of the house. It was, as secured as it can be. The barn, on the other hand, there's panels knocked out of the overhead doors and,
There's a whole crane in there.
yeah, right, yeah.
An entire crane.
Yeah.
I've never seen a crane in a garage, ever.
It's quite a bit more than a garage. It's a big building.
Okay.
That again, not exactly like the Solison's property, but that would be a big expense. Those are 14-foot tall, if I remember, poured concrete walls that
Yeah.
barn is constructed out of.
And
and
it's past help at this point?
No, I mean, it's actually in decent shape, but it looks to be in better shape than the house, to be honest. The front portion of that building is cinder block, which doesn't look as great as the rear portion, which is poured concrete.
Got it.
But just the amount of contents there in and around the buildings there's a lot of stuff everywhere.
Yeah. It's
And
a
I
huge
was-
property too, right?
Oh, yeah, it's 9 acres, I think.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was there in the winter when there was nothing, no leaves or anything. I don't know if you'd get back there now, because it would just be overgrown like mad.
Have we been in contact? I mean, obviously we've been in contact with them. Or no?
So that's where the
Yeah, I don't think so.
fun part comes in.
Unless Ashley has the ability to communicate with the dead.
Oh.
At least my Ouija board does. No, I'm kidding on that one, I don't have one. But, Irvin died in 2003, 2008, something like that, from the obituary that I found on him, and then Della died somewhere around 2013, 2018, again, depending on the obituary I found.
Okay.
According to that, there were 3 children, one of which of whom I know is for sure at least deceased. From the sounds of it, every time it's gone off the tax sale, somebody has paid off the taxes so that it doesn't get purchased by way of tax sale.
So this has been owned by the same family?
But there has never been any type of probate for anything ever done for this property, and the wife, Della, actually owned a property in Crown Point that, again, no probate has ever been done for, because I looked at my case for that, and no form of probate has ever been done to transfer the estate out of Irvin and Della's name, even though both have now been deceased for a while.
Are the sewer bills being paid?
Mm-hmm.
By the dead guy.
Supposedly by
By the dead
Irvin.
guy?
By Irvin. So I don't know who is actually paying utility bills.
Wow.
So, for this one, I'm gonna say we're gonna need to run title to figure out anybody to contact, and likely, we'll probably end up having to post in the paper or notice to appear.
And the worst part about that is obviously
Time.
well, not just that, but you're relying upon somebody to read the newspaper, specifically the legal advertisements, to know that their property or their mom and dad's property has got some issues.
So that on the mailing address of the tax records or wherever is to
that house.
Yeah.
According to Lake County GIS, it's 13941 Moore Street. Our utility billing gal has something in Crown Point, but that's to Della, who is also deceased.
But it appears that somebody's getting the bills to pay them, right?
I would have to check with them.
Or they're just going online and paying them. So at this point, we definitely need to have title ran
Mm-hmm.
to see if we can find out someone to contact. And then just, this is a first for me here, probably a first for you as well, definitely a first for you, Donna. So if we go through the steps, serve notice via paper, like you're saying, ultimately, we're gonna have to end up taking this down and then placing a lien on the property. Okay, so, and that's far off though.
Correct. I mean, there's definitely gonna be a lead time with getting title, getting notice published, all that stuff.
And if we have to publish in the newspaper, I think we have to publish twice, don't we?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know that we've ever had to publish one
I
before.
think you have to publish them 2 different times, at least 30 days apart. So it's not as quick as I send a notice out to somebody via mail and certified and get something back and we either hear or we don't hear. I'm gonna have to publish in the newspaper 2 different times, at least so many days apart.
So at this point, I think title being ran is important. And then what do we do? Move this to an update item?
I would probably keep it active for now. I mean, nothing's been issued as of right now, no notices to appear. It might be worthwhile to send a notice to appear at the addresses that the town has for utility billing and see if we catch something.
So I guess the other question is does it go from potential to the unsafe list? Does it
Well, I mean,
have to-
that's obviously your call based upon the unsafe, report that we have.
To remove it from the, because right now it's potential unsafe, and to remove it from there and put it on our actual list.
Heather,
Yes, sir.
this is a piece of property that may be of some value to the town
Right.
in relationship to utilities, extensions, and the like. I will give a report to the town council with Chris, and we'll talk about that, and perhaps that'll be a shortcut or another path to a solution.
Yeah, I drove by there today, that's the first thing I thought of, what a great property to help the town.
Public Works facility?
A lot of land, a lot of land.
No.
So, is there anything else you would like me to add to the record then regarding that?
No, just that, first we've heard this report, and we need to discuss, we've got a councilman in the room, but we need to discuss with everyone,
Okay,
and you should stand on task.
okay, so for now, we'll,
And just to put a bow on the notice requirements, so the statute requires publication to be made 2 times, 1 week apart. The second publication must occur at least 3 days before the event occurs. So
The
we could
event
accomplish that, the demolition having to be done and stuff like that, like
Okay.
for the demo order. So you could accomplish that. It'd be a tight time frame, but you could do it in a 1-month time frame that we have, because we need the lead time to get it to the publishers. They take at least 5 days to get in the newspaper.
Okay.
So you're talking at least probably 19-ish days there.
so you think we could have some sort of, we'll have title ran and we'll.
Title should be back next month, and then, I would suggest part of the motion, if it is to order title, is to send an order to appear to whatever addresses we have and see if somebody bites.
So they can go hand in hand. We don't have to run title, then wait, and then.
Correct. I would still order them to appear and see what happens. Because
Second one, run title and.
And order the owners to appear at our next meeting.
the way the typical time frame would work is, if nobody appeared at the next meeting, we have title back, then, we can look at everything, and if the evidence shows it and supports it, you guys can order the demolition of the property, and we just proceed down our path as we normally would. It's just,
Okay.
instead of mailing the notice, we have to publish it.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, that's been an eyesore for quite some time, and now I understand why, with the deceased people still being the owners and somehow paying the bills.
Yes,
Good for them.
that's the new one. We actually have a note in there to find out whenever somebody comes in to pay, who's paying it.
Or are they coming in to pay?
They're sending something in, but it's a check, and it's in
They
Urban
look at an
Pay.
envelope or something, return address.
So, well, that's why we made, it looks like the last payment was made May 11th, which is about the time that they did the last tax bill purposes, according to the treasurer's report, so they probably paid them hand in hand, they probably paid enough not to get cleaned.
How is someone deceased that wants to fill a bank account?
That is a great question that I wonder too. So we have a note in there, the utility billing head and myself, that next time they get some type of payment to let us know who is actually sending in this payment, because it's coming in on Urban thing.
Yeah, because you could find a return address maybe on the envelope.
Yeah, but given that the last payment was made when it was about time to be liened, probably won't see anything until the end of the year.
All right, so we just proceed as normal, run title, we'll request their presence at the next meeting. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it. So the motion would be to direct us to order title, to order the property owners to appear at the next meeting and move it to the active unsafe.
So three things.
The owner,
Okay. I make a motion that we're going to run the notice to the public.
1 second, I'm sorry. Did you have something you wanted to add?
who is going to, who's going to identify an owner?
Well, we have an owner's name based upon the GIS records,
Oh, okay.
and they have a couple of mailing addresses in the town, so the most we can do is send to the addresses we have and see if we catch anything. Until we get something back from title that says something different.
The service is incredibly futile if we don't have or track somebody alive now. So, just, no matter which path this goes, we need to have some kind of an address and contact data. We'll talk about that between now and next month, for sure.
Okay.
And get you more information.
Okay. All right, sorry, Donna, go ahead.
That's right. I make a motion to run a notice to public in the newspapers to...
We don't need to do that yet.
So right now, we're just doing, requesting
Just requesting to run titles
run title, requesting that they appear in 30 days.
and order owners to next meeting in 30 days.
Correct.
Okay.
And move this to the active unsafe.
And then, yeah,
And move it
come
to the
on.
active from the potential. Okay.
Can I second that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I second. Roll call?
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Sessower?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. All right, we're on to update items.
All right.
I'll let you read them out, Ashley.
8120 Lakeshore Drive, similar update to last time. I'm waiting on any type of engineering and PUD documents to come in from their engineer and attorney. I haven't heard anything from them since last month, so I might reach out to them and find out where they're at on it, but sometimes it takes some time depending on how far back their engineering firm is.
So you'll get that, and then it'll pop over to the Plan Commission, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
The bird property, I finally have an invoice together. From the sounds of it, talking with Ryan yesterday, there is a foreclosure judgment on there, so not entirely sure how well that's going to go on collecting it back, but altogether, the total amount of bill came out to $13,506.80.
So from a legal perspective, the bank has kind of beat us to the punch, so to speak. They had filed their foreclosure action shortly after we filed our complaint in the Superior Court. They just, within the last month or so, got a decree of foreclosure against the property. So while we can send the bill off, and we're required to the property owners, odds are, I think we're all pretty confident that the birds are not going to pay this. By the time we even got to anything to try to put a lien on the property likely will have already been sold at the sheriff's sale under the degree of foreclosure, so.
So unless the price covers all of the mortgage and every other debt.
Yeah, I mean, we would need, and we're not even in the foreclosure decree because we didn't even have a legal interest at that point in time, so.
Okay.
And their foreclosure judgment is north of $100,000, so I don't believe anyone's going to be bidding that amount for that property, but maybe I'm wrong.
So at this point, I mean, what it's done, does this need to stay on our update items, or is this just something staff can handle?
Yeah, I think it's purely at a staff level now.
Do we need to make a motion to remove, or can we
I would
just
just
suggest?
make a motion to remove it, yes.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion to remove that, 8816
I make a
West?
motion to remove 8816 West 141st Avenue Bird from the update items.
I'll second that motion. Roll call?
Mr. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Sessower?
Yes. Motion carries 2-0. All right, sorry, Ashley, number 3?
12901 Hilltop, 6599 Fernwood, 14021 Windsor Street, 7020 West 139th, 7109 West 146. Those are all still on the list waiting to be demolished. 7424 West 148th Place, I'd like the board's direction to go ahead and notify them to appear at next month's meeting because there still has been no permit submitted on the work that they did to the garage, and we still can't say 100% for certain whether or not it is still unsafe or not, so I'd like that direction from the board.
Can you refresh my memory super quick? I just pulled up the report.
So Sheila Graves, this was a property that there was only a garage standing. She was allegedly living in it during the winter months.
Yes.
We ended up getting the unsafe order. The town was subsequently sued by Ms. Graves through her attorney from Legal Aid. That lawsuit, we've received a judgment in our favor for that. It's sold at tax sale to an entity called Wintering LLC. Wintering took title. They filed a quiet title action against the town and many other lien holders. That resolution is occurring or will occur shortly. All the liens for that property have been resolved. But subsequent to Wintering taking title, I followed up with their attorney saying, hey, you know, this needs to be taken care of. And so apparently they went in and took care of it without contacting Tony or the town or pulling any permits. So I think Tony's comment at the last meeting was, when I asked him if it was safe now, because aesthetically it looks good, Tony said he hasn't been inside, so he doesn't know sort of if it is safe. So
And we've contacted them for access and they've not given it?
I don't believe contact's been made. I think that's what Ashley's getting at, is that contact needs to be made so Tony can make that inspection and just be done with this property, hopefully.
Got it, thank you. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I will send them a letter via the usual method of first-class mail and certified to appear at next meeting.
Letter to appear, and what we want is access for Tony to walk in and do a inspection.
And pull a permit for the work that they did, yeah.
And having dealt with this entity and knowing who's involved with it, I suspect they'll be receptive to the town's correspondence.
Yeah, because they're done, right? We're done with them, they're done with us?
Correct.
Okay. West 127th Lane, similar to all the other properties, they're on the list to be demolished. It's just a matter of when we can get Tim out there to take it down. And then 1303 9th Street, it was demolished last month, moved to the update items. We're just waiting on the sewer to be capped and inspected. I don't know if the person who does the sewer cap inspection has been out yet or not.
Okay, is this something we can remove from the update item and just take care of staff level?
It was discussed at last meeting, leaving it on the update just to make sure that the sewer got capped in conjunction, but that's at your discretion.
I mean,
Get done, I'm confident, so.
let's remove it.
Yeah. Just like the bird property, I'd make a motion to remove it then.
Okay, would you make a motion to remove that now?
On 130.
Yeah, number 10.
I make a motion to remove 13013 9th Street from the update item list.
And I'll second that. Roll call?
Ms. Rosanich?
Yes.
Ms. Besar?
Yes, motion carries 2-0. I have a question. So when I found out a couple meetings ago about the pre-COVID list and what happened during COVID, obviously, and then, so I know that there's a group of properties that either disappeared or kind of went off of the radar. Is that list something that we can get back?
I think at one point in time, Tony had gone through and looked at everything that had been in, because we have an unsafe build share folder where all those unsafe reports live, and what needs to be updated, ones that need to be updated. I can always go through and look at that list and compile that list and get it to you with the reports that have been made at that time, if any reports have been made at that time. I'd have to go into each folder and look, and I'll compile that list for you.
Okay. I just asked because it seems, well, first of all, they're still in need of repair or demo. We're like 4 years in now. But also it seems like our list is kind of the same people recurring, where I feel like we have a better hold on what's on here now. What do we have in the hopper coming for unsafe?
I think there's probably 6 or 7 reports that are in our shared unsafe that are ready to be presented.
Okay. So those will start popping up, I assume?
I need to run, or similar to that invoice, I need to kind of show that to the clerk treasurer because there's only so much budget in the line item for unsafe.
So until some of these come up.
Right. We need to look at what's still on there, what we have active active on demolition list, which is still quite a lot.
Is there more than what's here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
No, that is what is waiting to be demolished that has been done either by way of affirming demolition orders, which those are only good for 2 years after the affirmation is done, or 2 of which are stipulations, which if the people who did the stipulations, we don't get them and they decide to take them down for rate that works better, but ultimately, all those items are still waiting to be demolished.
Okay.
Might I suggest that, while I understand the budgetary concerns, I don't know that that should be a hindrance to the board taking action on reports that Tony's done. I mean, we had a number of items today that everybody was here on, which, I mean, might not be the norm, but even if there are unsafe items that Tony's done the reports on that they're deemed unsafe, I don't think that, potential budgetary concerns should at least prohibit you guys from addressing those, bringing those people in, and seeing if we can't get something going. It's a different story of knocking them down, and, if we have to delay on the tear downs, to me, that's a different issue than whether or not we even want to bring them in the first place.
I agree with that.
I would suggest to you that bringing them in is not going to have any harm, because we might get a number of people that come in and say, I'll do what I need to do, or, get people that are actually going to do the work to start working.
I would agree with that.
The direction of the board is to do that. How many? 2?
2, I think it's probably safe. Pick your 2 favorites.
Will do.
Okay. That's all for me. Public comment? Public comment? That being said, we adjourn at...
Wait.
Hold it, you got
Oh, sorry. Gotta be quicker.
Yep. Hi, my name is Nick Lewis. I live in 7,000 West 127 Place. There one house by Walgreens that needs to be looked at. 37th Place, which I think about. That one house, 1104. That one house that needs to be looked at?
Yeah, he was here this evening.
Okay, that one house that needs to be looked at, I don't know if somebody's looking at the house or what, but there was pictures being said, but then nobody's looked at it since yesterday. I don't know what's going on with that house or not, but, I mean, basically...
Sir, do you mean the one that was in front of us this evening?
1104
West 133rd Avenue, the red brick home?
Yeah, is that the one that needs to be looked at, or is there something that, what's going on with the house?
That one he is set to schedule demolition for.
It's going to be demolished?
The owner, yeah, was here
Okay.
today.
Now, is there anything wrong with the house and that needs to be demolished, or?
Yeah, a pretty lengthy report.
Because the windows look like, it's not the brick house is not too bad, but the inside of it, I hate to see what it looks like from the inside.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's in too good a shape on the inside.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Walls, floor, rear porch, vegetation.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty bad, situation.
Yeah, and he's been here and he's been in communication with us. We've got a plan for him.
Okay. If you have any questions, you can just call me and let me know what's up.
Okay, he'll be back at the meeting in September.
Okay.
Would you like to
All right,
do that?
just give me an update.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
All right, thanks, sir. All right, any other public comment?